And happy Wednesday. It's Mobile Monica, the Real Monica Adams podcast, coming to you live from Mark Anthony's in Kirkwood. It's the store that's a little bit of everything. We're right here at the corner of Jefferson and North Kirkwood Road. In fact, about a half hour ago, I posted about what the topic is for today, and I had that beautiful blue hat on that I wore for the Kentucky Derby party. That was made by my good friend, Dianne Isbell. Hats by Dianne. If you've never seen her creations, today you will. But one of the great things we're going to talk about today is something that I feel and she feels is a lost art. We'll think, is it a generational thing? What's happened to respect, to class, to etiquette? All of those things. In fact, we'll even talk about some classes that Dianne teaches. Before we get into all that, though, I just want to welcome you aboard. I want you to come on in. I want you to get relaxed if you can, or I want you to grab those earbuds, your headphones, or you connect it through the car. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, Monica, you're teaching us technology too. Yes, just connect it into the car and listen to it on your drive as you're heading into work or dropping the kids off, or maybe you have the day off, or maybe you're going to go enjoy this gorgeous day, maybe head off to a park. If you want to go hiking, walking, running, you want a little positivity in that, a little teaching, a little education in that, use this listening, being more focused, being more present as a way to start your day. It's just after 7 o'clock, and it's the Real Monica Adams podcast, brought to you by my friends just 2 blocks down. It is Invita Health and Wellness. Dr. Sarah Franco and her staff, Jamie, they are incredible. She's got more than Jamie, but I just know Jamie really well. We're going to get to know them better. So are you. In fact, in about a week's time, you are going to hear more about supplements, vitamins. I've been talking a lot about this, and many of you have said, wow, I think that's me. Like, I go to the supplement store or I go to vitamin store and just grab some vitamins, and I think I have to take all of these. I don't know if I'm taking enough. What you might not know is you might be taking too much. Are you overdoing your vitamins and supplementation? And is it better to take it orally or having an IV? So we're going to talk with Dr. Sarah Franco about that next week on Tuesday. IV hydration therapy and all the other great things that they offer at Invita Health and Wellness. Check them out. Tell them that we sent you from the Real Monica Adams podcast, InvitaHealthandWellness.com. So as I mentioned, we are mobile today. So I've got my wonderful videographer, creative genius, George Wise is on with us. He came early getting everything set up. Dianne is going to join us very soon. And some of the girls just leaving. We just wrapped up. I mean, I'm going to tell you, this train does not stop. We just got done working out. To the quick change artist and was on for you right on schedule to change your life. Now, I want you to say hi if there's any questions that you have, any comments, any aha moments from topics we've done in the past, or as always, if there are topics that you want me to cover in the future. I've got my book here about some incredible ones that we have coming up with guests, either here at my house or very soon. We will be launching it in the studios on the 17th floor in the University Club Tower building, directly across from the Galleria. Can't wait for that. I want to thank all of you, by the way. We're talking about 3 months worth. I cannot believe how quickly it's passed. I was talking to a friend yesterday and I said, it's almost been 5 months. It's almost been 5 months since I left organized television on January 2nd. I cannot believe it's gone by that quick, but that's how fast life goes. We've got to slow it down a little bit. So I know I just said the quick change artist, but then now I'm present. Now I'm with you. Now I'm focused. That's what I want for you. I want you to release the toxicity, release the negativity and the stress. I want you to focus on what you want in that path of life, right? Is it filled with debris? Is it filled with clutter? Are you forgetting how to be a respectful human being to yourself and to those that you interact with? That's one of the topics we're going to talk about today. We're going to do that for you in just a few minutes. I also want to kind of give you a rundown of the agenda besides our wonderful guest, Dianne, who is coming in for you in just a couple of minutes. We'll also talk about the 100 Days to Freedom. We started that. It was just organically, it really spoke to me when I went to church and we went into this bookstore and I looked up on the shelves, and of course, they're beautiful colors. That is what you're drawn to first and foremost, right? Beautiful fashion. We love accessories. They make the outfits, the hats, the jewelry, etc. For me, I was in the bookstore, saw the colors, drawn to the colors, then saw the title, was drawn to the title. And then I went deeper in my mind and my soul and thought the message is what's important. 100 Days to Freedom from depression, from shame, from anxiety and fear, from overeating. Well, overeating just came to us, thankfully, to my friend. She completed the series. She had this sent to my house. And so that one is a little bit behind. We are on day 4 of a lot of them. We'll go ahead and do the 100 Days to Freedom from Stephen Arterburn, the daily devotional with it as well, from overeating. And then the 100 Days to Freedom from Depression. We'll talk a little bit about that as well, if we have time. I'll definitely get into the overeating one. Today, again, we're going to talk about something that I want to know if it's a generational thing, because so many people put a lot of pressure on our younger generation. They say, these kids these days, I used to hear that when I was younger, and I was like, am I ever going to say that? Am I going to feel like I'm old when I say, oh, these kids? Well, they get a lot thrown on them, and it becomes the millennials. And, I tell you what, I think it's every generation. We've got a lot that really pay attention to the world. They want to give back. They're caring. They're focused and present. They're getting their education. They want to make their footprint and their impact on the world. Well, ever since the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, I've seen a lack of socialization. Many of the young ones, they were kept home from school, right? They lost that art of socializing. They lost the art of doing what I'm doing to you right now, looking you straight in the eye and having communication. A lot of that was because they learned through a box of Zoom. And one of the things that I feared was that as they're growing up, they lost all of that. We're talking about from education. We're talking about socialization skills. We're talking about their sports, their activities. Did it shut them down, and did that affect how they are in the world? Possibly. We can talk a little bit about that as well. Remember, if you have a topic you want me to discuss, we talked about toxic bosses. We talked about how to focus. And today we're going to talk about class, respect, etiquette. Okay? George, before I bring my guest on, any questions, any comments? I'm sure a lot of good mornings.
You got Ann Donnelly saying hello, Angela Warren, Barbara Croy, Linda Eckert says good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Everybody's
good morning.
Just jumping on.
All right, good. So as you're jumping on this morning, I want you to grab whatever you want. You want to have a little tea, a little coffee. That's where a lot of you like to start. I have my huge jug of water. It's important to get hydration. I think I'm going to try to fill this up a couple times. I love these because it says, you got this. Keep chugging. You're looking good. You're on the right track. And by the time you're done, you get the award, right? When we were kids, we wanted a smiley face or a little star on our paper. With this, you get the affirmations of, oh, good job. You got your water in. Also, a little immunity blend just to keep hydrated. So I want you to relax. If you can have some breakfast, grab all that and make sure that you're ready. Or some of you, as I said, might be heading off to work. That's fine. I think the kids, if they aren't already, they are going to be coming home from school. And then what are you going to do with them all summer? I hope you keep them busy. The weather is just absolutely beautiful this week, so you can definitely enjoy that. We usually like to get into our topic at about 7:15. So we're right about that right now. Let me kind of do a little recap and give you where we are. First of all, it's the Real Monica Adams podcast brought to you by Invita Health and Wellness. And we are live, as you can see, in a beautiful retail store. We're at Mark Anthony's right here at the corner of Jefferson and North Kirkwood Road. I mentioned that we have like a little plaza. It's like our own mini Today Show. It's the Plaza of Kirkwood. So as we do more and more of these shows mobile, you can come and actually watch the show right here from the corner, especially as we get into the summer. I would love to see the kids and all the dogs that go walking with their human beings. They're walking them. You can come on by and just say hi and wave in the window if you'd like to. I'd love to see that. Don't forget to share the podcast today and from the past so that we know that we have that reach far and wide, well beyond just the St. Louis area, Missouri, Illinois. We have people going on vacation and taking us with. I had somebody in Tuscany, Italy. I had someone in Florida the other day, in Texas, and in the Georgia mountains. I love the fact that you take this message with you and you want your life to change. So today, the topic is something that my mother taught me when I was a little girl, and it was always a presentation. So I told you, could I have stayed in my workout clothes? I could have. But there's another level of class and etiquette and respect for you, respect for my guest who is here. When we bring her on in, Dianne Isbell, come on down. You're the next contestant.
Hi.
Yes. Hello, my friend.
Hi. How are you
fantastic.
today? Thank you. So do you. You never know that you were just exercising.
I was just in it, and I will flip back into exercise clothes for my 8 o'clock client that's coming. It's go, go, go. How have you been?
I've just been fine. Recovering from the surge of hats that I had to make for the Kentucky Derby.
Mm-hmm.
Yours have won. But it's
it.
fun. It's fun to see everybody happy wearing a hat.
So it was, and I'm sure you were. Is that your busiest time of the year? Is the Derby time, or what else would it be?
Well, from March until really the middle of June after the Forest Park Forever Hat Luncheon. And then the Ascot races
When's
later
that?
in June.
In June.
I think it's the 22nd of June. So
Okay.
then things will slow down a bit. But there will
What
be
does your husband
weddings.
say? I know what my husband says when I go. What does your husband say?
Oh, he says just be careful. Stay awake.
Yeah, while you're driving. I mean, this woman is one of the hardest working people I have ever seen. We're going to get into her whole life. If you are not familiar with her hats, you will. We'll show a little bit for you today. There's a beautiful one here. I have one that you made me a while back. That's
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh.
I recognize that. Yes, I do.
I love hats, but it's something that I don't think a lot of women they don't wear them anymore unless they're going to an event. You know, you look back generations ago, and it was just beautiful to see not only women but men. And we do have some baseball caps, but we've also got some other
Yes.
hats, and I love that.
Mhm.
To me, the style of the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. I always thought that I grew up in the wrong generation. My mom always said, "Yep, you love our generation." I do, and I think the reason why, Diane, goes into what we're talking about today. That do you agree? It just seemed that people slowed down a little bit. They appreciated the art of fashion. What their first that's right. It's the very first presentation that you make to someone is not all wrinkled up and sloppy looking, but it's respect for oneself, isn't
It
it?
is, definitely. You have to look the part to be appreciated and respected by others. And, you know, the first thing that I teach my students is a handshake. How important a handshake is. Because that may be the only time, the only visible time when you have the opportunity to impress or not impress someone. They'll either remember you by that good handshake or they'll say, oh my gosh, what a horrible handshake that person had.
It's like a dead fish.
Yes, and it says a lot about you. It says either I don't have a lot of confidence in myself if I don't give you a good handshake, or I don't think that you're worthy of a good handshake, which goes back to the respect. So that's why it's so important. That's your first impression. And how long does it take to make a first impression? About 8 seconds.
8 seconds. It's also, you know, when I go and I do like MC events, I'm very big getting there an hour early, going through a script and saying, how do you say this person's name? A lot of people in the organization will say, oh gosh, I think. I'm like, there's no thinking.
Yes,
Let's find the person. Let's have the respect for, because if there's anything that we are, it's our name, right? Know that person's name, say the name, but in those 8 seconds, there's always an art of saying, somebody the other day said, say it 3 times and it's in your brain already. So if I would meet you and say, Diane, and then you're not focused and you're not present, you don't respect the person that you're talking to because you're waiting to say what you want to say.
That's right.
And then suddenly what happens? What was her name again?
That's right. Someone walks up and you need to make the introduction and it's, oh my gosh, I can't remember that name.
Right?
So
Yes. Well, her name, Dianne Isbell. So if you have not ever seen her hats around town, you'll know today, and I want you to look at a way to get one for yourself and wear it to church. You know, I look at women and they say, oh, I might get a pretty bonnet for Easter. And okay, that's great. Or maybe I'll get a hat for the Kentucky Derby. I'd love to see them incorporated more and more and more, which I'm sure you would as well.
I would.
If someone wants to know, first of all, and we'll do this a few times, where to see your hats, what's the best way? You have a website?
I have a website, which is hatsbydiane.com, and I have Facebook, which is Dianne Isbell, Hats by Diane, and I have Instagram. So,
But spell Diane.
Dianne.
Yes,
2 N's.
2 N's.
Otherwise, you'll get this lady in, I think she's in Oklahoma.
Oh, so you're the real Dianne Isbell.
That's right. So.
That's actually how I named the show and my website is that I did the same thing. I Googled and I was like, Monica Adams, and it was like a photographer or something. And I said, I'm the real Monica Adams. That's it. I'm the real Monica Adams. So you said you teach classes. Where do you teach these classes?
Anywhere and everywhere for individuals of all ages, for children, for colleges, universities, organizations, corporations, whoever has a need to brush up or learn more about what is proper. And is proper makes a big difference in how people look at you and view you, and the same with them. When I was working, I always thought, you know, the one thing that made me eligible for promotions was you look the part. Mm-hmm. You know, if you look the part and they look around for someone that they need to fulfill that part, they're going to get you rather than someone who is wearing jeans. or
Well,
whatever.
I like the fact that you said whatever, because I don't know how we got to a point, and I know there's probably kids that'll go, oh, whatever, we're going to turn this off. We can do what we want to do. We all had that mindset. We all were younger at some point. We all thought we knew more than our parents. But at some point, they'll look back at the pictures and go, did I really leave the house in pajamas?
Mhm.
They're at the mall, they're in pajamas. And I was just like, as a parent, it starts with you until they get past a certain age, and then they're like, whatever, I'm going to wear what I want to wear. But as a parent, you let them walk out of the house and not care, and they're literally in pajamas and slippers.
And that's what I tell the college students when they talk about, gee, we're going to need a reference. And I say, okay, now if you're going to approach your professor and you're going to ask him for a reference, what do you think he is going to be able to say about you if you come to class every day in pajamas or sweats, your hair's not combed, you don't have any makeup? What can he say other than they show up for class and they do their homework?
But you know what? So let me see where you go with this. I believe that the way you show up, and again, as I mentioned, could I have stayed in my workout clothes? Yes, but I think you function different.
Yes,
right?
Definitely. One of the prerequisites for my classes, especially the young girls and boys, is that you have to wear, a girl has to wear a dress or a skirt.
Mm-hmm.
You would be amazed how many children some years ago, when I offered the class, the mother would say, but she doesn't have a dress. She
Not
doesn't have
one?
a skirt. She wears pants. I said, well, in order to take my class, she has to wear a dress or a skirt. And people act differently. I mean, they learn how to sit properly, how to get into the car, and it's the same with boys. You know, they put on something that's a little more professional,
right?
And they look better and they feel better. They feel better. It's like wearing a hat. You'd be surprised what a difference that makes. They just feel better.
It is. It's all, and then tilting the head a certain way, and how you present it, and the angles of things. We'll get into that in just a second. If you're just tuning in, welcome, by the way. If you are brand new to us, you just found us, I love it. Know that we're here for you Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. We come to you live. Depends. Today's mobile. I say it's mobile, Monica. We're here in the Kirkwood area at Mark Anthony's, and we've got our special guest, Dianne Isbell. So, Dianne, again, it's hats by Dianne. How did you ever get into making hats? Where did it come from? What's the origin for your life?
Well, it started, first of all, I worked for the government for 37 and a half years. And during that time, for 13 years, I was director of protocol for a big 55,000 person worldwide command. So I had to learn my P's and Q's about when to salute and where to stand in a hurry. And from that then evolved, I was teaching these classes at the malls and things like that for 6 weeks, Saturday mornings, to teach young people, party manners, how to write a thank you note, telephone manners, how to make an introduction, all those things that just make you feel better and you are a better person. So then the Bell News Democrat asked me to write a column for them. So I've been doing that for 40 some years.
Oh, you still are?
Yes.
Oh,
it's
gosh,
every
that's
2 weeks
incredible.
now. It used to be every week. And then from that, I started teaching my little girls etiquette tea classes after I retired from the government. And I found that, if I put dresses on them over their clothes and bustled them up, the prom dresses that actually had sleeves, and I bought them boas, they could pick out anything they wanted, and gloves, and Mom, you just stay over there. If she wants green and orange, that's okay. Let her do that. And then I made them these Victorian type hats with all the tulle. And it didn't take long. My older sister said, I need a hat. I need a red hat. And that's when the Red Hat Society started about 15 or 17 years ago.
Yes.
And I asked her, I said, what do you need a red hat for? And she said, well, it's this society, we all go out. Then she needed one for the next season. Then her girlfriends needed some. And then before long, I had them in shops all over the place, from Springfield, Illinois to Springfield, Missouri. And I followed their shows, and I would be a vendor there. But my rule was I don't make anything twice.
I love the uniqueness
one of a
of
kind.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably couldn't do it twice anyway with some of the stuff that I use. But, I think that if a path opens, God is showing you a way.
Amen.
If you take it and it turns out to be something great, fine.
Mhm.
But if it's the road to Abilene and you need to take a step back, then just try something else. But it doesn't hurt to try something.
It doesn't hurt to try, and we all learn from every path we take.
That's
Hopefully.
right.
But that has to do with a topic we've talked about in the past, which is how present are you in life? How much do you really focus? How much clarity do you have
Yes.
to slow down? And a lot of it is the slower we go, the more we are in the moment. We're in a conversation. We're actually listening to each other. That's respect in itself. Okay, hats. You know I love fashion as much as you do. And so for those of you that just want to go, okay, I want to go one step. I'm not where you and Dianne are just yet. I'm not ready to climb out of my comfort zone. Where would you start a person? Because we're going to get into a little more elaborate. But where would you start a person who says, I don't think I can pull that off. But I'd like to have a little fashion, just a little touch of it. What would you do with it?
Well, and that's one of the things I like to do is to learn their personality, to see exactly what they feel about different things, the colors that look good on them. I can't tell you how many times people will say, I just can't wear a hat. It just don't look good in a hat. But the reason is it may not be the right hat, may not be the right shape, and it may not be the right color, and it just may be a little bit too fussy or not fussy enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe in telling people exactly what it looks like on them,
Smart.
what I think, because how many times you've been to the store and you try on a dress and they say, wow, that looks just great on you, and you get it home and you say, why did I buy this?
Yes.
And so if someone, thinks that they like a certain hat,
Mhm.
and they put it on and it doesn't buy, just tell them, I think that we'll find something that looks a little bit better. But everybody can wear a hat.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of
Which one?
putting it on right. And it's like the women that go to the Derby. The first year they come and they say, I want something really wild. And then when I get to know them a little bit better, it's not quite as wild as what they're going to see at the Derby.
Mm-hmm.
So I want them to feel comfortable. I mean, you don't want to be feeling like you're weird wearing something that's too outrageous.
Absolutely.
So the next year they come back and then they say, I want something.
I can go
really
another
wild."
step. Let's go. Let's actually go wild. I didn't go wild last
Right.
year. Have you been to the Derby?
I have not been to the Derby. I've been a featured milliner there, and I've had fashion shows. But by the time the Derby day comes and the last person leaves like 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm exhausted.
I bet. I said before, if you're just tuning in, this woman is one of the hardest working women. And I hope that in itself, as you watch and you listen to things that she's doing, I hope that you, your kids, your grandkids, etc., learn that integrity, which really is a fiber of your being. Is what kind of integrity do you have in yourself that you're going to provide for you, that everyone else gets a chance to see and provide for the world. If you have any questions, or tell us about your hats. So George is manning the comments. I can't see them right now, but George is going to man those for us. If you or someone you know has hats, when did you get introduced to them? Was it when you were a little girl and you had your little tea party? That's what I think we need to bring back. I love to have those and invite everybody to the table. Let the little kids, let them show their personality and what they're going to do with that. And the little hats and, like she said, the dresses. Get the little boys, maybe put some suspenders on.
Yes.
The little hats and their little suits. Any comments or questions, George?
Well, Linda Eckert talked about the pajamas in church. Somebody had shown at the church. Yeah.
Oh, yes. That is.
And then there's another one here. Talk about kids wearing whatever they want nowadays, and that passes as being okay. It's up to the moms, basically, was the comment.
It's mom and dad. It's everybody that plays a role in allowing it. And I think that was the thing. So Dianne and I have known each other, I don't even know when we first met, but we've known each other for a while. And I know you probably used to come into Fox 2 when I was there.
Yes.
Channel 5. We've run in a lot of the same circles. Again, from a fashion standpoint, it was taught to me, ingrained in me when I was a little girl. And it was really, Monica, I don't care if you're running up to, how many of you know this? So those of you that are watching right now, or if you watch it on replay, comment so that I can see it later. How many of you had a parents, grandparents, who said, honey, okay, you might just be running to the grocery store, but you don't need to look like a slob,
Exactly.
right? So even if you put a little effort into it, put a little makeup on, try to fix your hair, put a hat on, because if you're like, oh, I got bedhead, okay, fine, put a hat on, put something somewhat nice on, run up to the store. Why? Because you never know
Who you're going to meet.
Look at that. It's almost as if we rehearsed it. It's
No,
true.
it's
Could
true.
it be a past boyfriend, girlfriend, somebody you went to school with that thought, haven't seen you in 30 years, and holy cow, you didn't turn out so good. Future boss.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. And one of the things that I have a motto: if you're going to do it right, or don't do it at all. And the other one is, the world is run by those who show up, but first you have to get up.
Yeah.
And I found when I was traveling for the government, for instance, the government was paying my travel, right? They were paying me to take this trip. So if I traveled on a Sunday, I wore a suit.
Yes.
Because sitting next to the person in the airplane and they say, "Oh, what do you do?" "I work for the government." Well, if I'm in sweats, they look at me like,
They won't even
"Oh,
talk
this
to you."
is rough." And the other reason is, if my luggage got lost, I had enough face in my purse that I could make it for the next day. But I just think it's important to represent yourself the way you are and feel good about what you do.
I do.
And,
Agree with
back to the fashion thing, one of the things that sort of did a deterioration of our fashion was the fashion world itself, because they're always coming up with new ideas. And so when did they decide to come up with Casual Friday? That was the detriment of a lot of corporations, because I have found that when you dress more casually, you treat people more casually.
And your production slows down.
That's right.
I agree with that. I told Dianne a story, and this is a true story. I will not name names. This could be fictitious. It's not. I worked in radio. And yes, so in radio, it's the medium that you don't see. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, you have a podcast." I said, yes, but it's both a visual component and an audio component. And I wanted that for so many reasons. In radio, back then, we didn't have the webcams. And I always thought, isn't there a way that we should be able to have people see us? They would probably love to see these artists we're interviewing, etc. I love the fact that somebody came up with webcams eventually.
Mhm.
In the studio, though, I would come dressed in a suit. Now, I was
Yes.
a news director at the time, so granted, I could have had to run off to a story, but not necessarily. I had reporters that I could have sent out, so I didn't have to dress in a suit. I wanted to. It was what I was presenting. I told Dianne there was a girl I worked with. If this gets back to her, there was a girl I worked with that we worked at a country station, and she literally worked on a farm, or lived on a farm, and so she had horses and pigs and everything. She came into work though several times, just completely dressed down. She had, wait for it, manure on her boots.
I know
and I
who
was
you're
like,
talking
"What is
about."
that smell?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." And then her hair would be disheveled, and she was like, just got. I love her to death. She cracked me up. We had like the best morning show team. But I would go, "Seriously?" And she's like, "Monica," she goes, "nobody can see us." And I said, "We can. Like, I can. I'm right here. I can see you." And then I would say, "There are other people who come into the building before we wrap up the show, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, but I might not see them." Or she'll like run to the bathroom and she'd like hide. It's all about like, why are you hiding yourself? There's production people, there's sales people. We've got our boss. We got a big boss. You could be grabbed and asked to go out on the sales call for future sponsorship. I'm like, there's so many levels of what could happen.
Yes,
And this is how you chose to show up.
Well, corporations soon found, the results of that, and then they tried to change it. And I think that we are coming back to the point now that COVID is over and people aren't working at home as much, and they're getting back to socializing and actually working together in a relationship of communication. I think that we're seeing the dress code getting better. And I think that the younger people are seeing too that to be successful, you're going to have to make some changes. And as far as what's happened with the socialization, technology did that to us, and the COVID. But, how many times do you see children in the summertime, they're just glued in front of that laptop or
their phone.
pods? And
My husband says this is the detriment to society.
it is to a certain extent. I mean, it has its advantages,
Yes.
but it also takes the time away from actually socializing with people and becoming friends.
Respect.
Respect.
Well, you're right. So, and I've always said, even what you're watching us on, right? Social media can be your worst enemy, or from a business standpoint, can be one of your best friends. And I think it's great. We just have to, it's how we use it. What do you do with it? I use it to catch up quickly. I don't scroll on it anymore. I don't have time for it. I mean, a lot of people are like, hey, did you see this? And I said, I don't. You're actually going to have to tag me so that I can see what you want me to see. Or why don't you just pick up the phone and call me and tell me about it. But actually speak to each other.
Yes.
That's the thing before I brought Dianne, I said I was a little worried about is those 2 years, 2.5 years, when we were stuck home from business, being away, what it did to socialization, respect. Kids don't know how to do this. It's eyes to the ground, slumping shoulders, a lack of confidence, and trying to teach that and to bring that back is imperative. You brought up casual Fridays. It's interesting in my design and wardrobe consulting that I do. So we do styling here, like beautiful stuff that we can have you come in and go, oh, is that your color? Is it not your color? He's got beautiful stuff here. If someone wants to go the next level and have us actually design something, I do that. But I have a lot of men that come in and say, yeah, you know what? It's changed. And I said, bring it back. It doesn't have to be you. And they're like, well, that's a good comment. And I said, it's all what you want. What do you want to present? Do you want to bring the suits back? Bring the suits back. You don't have to be overly formal. But the great thing now is you can put a beautiful sport coat on with slacks that are more breathable. They have bamboo in them, or they have a little bit of spandex in it. So it actually moves with them. They feel like they could go from work straight onto the golf course and throw on a polo with those pants. I do love the fact that you can blend that. That still, though, looks nicer than throwing on a pair of jeans.
Well, that's true. I don't care how much jeans cost. They still have the impression that it's just, I don't know.
That you didn't give an extra effort.
Right. I don't have any jeans.
No jeans?
No, I don't wear jeans. My husband doesn't wear jeans except in the backyard when he's working in the yard, because I don't like to see him going out with jeans.
I don't mind a nice pair of jeans with like a sport coat or whatever.
A sports coat,
yes. I like to blend that together. So no jeans for her, but that's her. Everybody has to find their own style, right? Absolutely. So let's talk about these beautiful hats. Is this a brand new creation?
This is a brand new creation that I finished last night, and this would be suitable for the Forest Park Forever or the Derby, and this would be sort of a low key.
Watch this. Watch how this changes. Look at the outfit now.
You have to have some attitude and attitude, whatever you want to call it. Yes. But this would be maybe a first year to the Derby. And then when you get a little more excited about it and you think that you want something a little more elaborate, then you might go with something like this, which is
that a fascinator?
Wow.
This is a fascinator or a hatinator.
A hatinator. This is hats by Dianne, by the way. Dianne Isbell. We're showing her. And see, that looks incredible on you. But
this is a placemat.
That's a placemat?
That's a placemat in there. I'm always looking for something different.
Oh, I was just going to get into what you use. So I think I told you before, I don't feel like I'm a fascinator kind of girl. I don't know why.
It just depends on what it.
But that looks great on you. That's just see, we're all about in fashion, all about lines and angles and color and what it brings out.
And I will not wear something that has. This is a new one too.
I love this color.
This yellow.
So is that another fascinator?
Wow.
This
look at the
fascinator.
bees.
See the little bumblebees on there?
Oh, now that's adorable.
This is a placemat also. I'm really big into placemats this year.
Somebody hashtag Hatinator and Hatitude. It's now a hashtag.
Hatinator and yes. The bees are really, really popular.
Yes.
Right? In a lot of jewelry. I've got a bumblebee. It's a mixture of like some pearls and like a chain with a bumblebee. I get so many compliments on everyone loves bumblebees right now.
Yes. Well, I have a hat that I'm wearing to the Forest Park Forever. It's a big black frame with a gold color here, and it has a paper mache bumblebee on it that kind of swirls around.
So okay, wait. This right here is a placemat.
Yes, this is a raffia placemat.
And then what are the flowers made of?
These are poppies, but they're like a silk poppy.
Silk, that's what I thought.
And this is what we call horsehair.
Okay.
This fabric right here, and it comes by the yard, and it comes in different widths.
Wow.
And
do you have a membership to fabric stores?
I should own stock in Hobby Lobby and Joann's and Michael's and what used to be Hancock Fabrics.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Linda Eckert says, wow.
What? Which one? The bee?
All of them so far.
Oh, she has another beautiful. Look at this white and pink one coming up.
This is
and have you all seen the blue one she made me? She made me this beautiful blue one for a derby party that was Monica blue, right? The color that I'm known for, that cobalt color.
Pamela Miller says beautiful.
This is another one now. This is kind of wild. You really have to be ready for this. Let's see. I think it goes on this side.
Now that looks like my favorite flower that my father used to give me. That looks like a stargazer lily. Look at
Wow.
the colors of it.
And I painted this, see, because I wanted to have
The
some
little
color.
tips.
Yeah, I painted that, and
You painted this?
I painted these a little
Oh.
bit, and I painted others that go in here. So I use, see the tips. I use fingernail polish. I use
You're so
liquid
creative.
paint. I use
Yeah.
spray paint. I do
I don't think
anything
this is
that I
me.
can to me.
Is this me?
I don't know.
Is it me?
I know it might be.
Ladies and
I
gentlemen, is this me? Or I think I'm more of hat. Let me show you one that Dianne made a long time ago that I've hung on to. This, I'm more of a big, wide
Yes,
brim.
that looks really great.
Wide brim hat.
And you're tall. You can do that.
Tina says, "Love this."
Love
Let's
this one?
Yeah.
And I'm
Mhm.
short, so
Oh, look
anytime,
at this.
Yeah, those-
Sweet. Look at this, we're in pair.
anytime I can wear something that is higher, it makes me look taller and thinner.
Mhm.
George, can you take a picture of us?
Oh,
Look at
absolutely.
this.
This is-
Ladies, so what do you think? Hats, fascinators. Are you a hat or a fascinator person? I always ask them coffee or tea. Hat or
You can be
fascinator?
both.
Can you be both?
Here, give you a big smile. Awesome. Awesome.
So, have you ever introduced yourself to a really beautiful hat? Now, here's the thing. My husband and I on Easter. Now, for me, I always felt like, wow, yeah, Easter. Put the beautiful Easter dress on. Put the hats on. And just, you're right. When you said in the beginning, Diane, that you just feel different. You
Mhm.
feel like you sit up better. Your shoulders
yes,
are back. Your
yes.
chest is up. Your confidence shows. We walked into church, Diane, and I swear I thought I had 3 eyes. And I thought, why is everybody staring at us? Because we were dressed up. And I thought, it's Easter. I thought I'd see more of that. As the congregation started to come out, I saw some women in dresses. I saw only a couple hats. Some guys in suits. A lot of it was sport coats, slacks, and then a lot of jeans, a lot of shorts, t-shirts. It was very different. It was kind of a culture shock thing for me because what I always knew was Sunday church, you dress up. I love the fact that Diane said this earlier as well. Anyone who's traveled with me, you know that this is us though. My husband and I love to dress up. Like you've seen us. I love to dress up. I love being in beautiful dresses. He loves to be in suits. Even though he's a police officer, doesn't have to wear a suit. When we go, we're not necessarily wearing a suit and a full-blown dress on the plane, but we are dressed up. And then I'll have friends come and they're in sweats and yoga pants and whatever. And then when we come walking up, they're like, oh, here's the two of them. And I was like, see, why the eye roll? This is who we are. That's who you are. That's okay. It's like, why? This is a really a good point. I mean, this is what I want you to think about when you journal. Think about this in life. This is anything. If someone chooses to go on a health path, applaud them, respect them, have respect for them. Applaud and cheer them on. Not, oh, here you go. You're trying to lose weight. You're fine. Just stay the way you are. Why steal that thunder? Let them be who they want to be. You be who you. I always say, stay in your lane. You be you. Let them be them, and stop judging. Because hopefully you're showing your authentic self, the real side of you, right?
That's true.
Now you've had that one a long time.
I've had this, so this is.
I remember this one.
This is not a creation of Diane's, but I wanted to say that this is proving to you that I love hats. On our honeymoon, we were in San Francisco. We went to Gorin Brothers, a beautiful hat place. This is one of my favorite hats.
Oh, that's really cute.
Right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
me. I love hats. And so we went in there and he's like, I want to get you a hat. And I said, I'd love to have a hat. And then we went to Puerto Rico. I thought you might like this one. Look at this. Isn't that pretty?
Oh, isn't that cute?
Love this. This was from Puerto Rico. But yeah, depends on what the outfit. I wouldn't put it with this, obviously, but you'd put it together. But hers are very, very next level, gorgeous. How long does it take you to make a hat? It probably depends on.
Depends.
Yeah.
It just depends. A fascinator like this is this took me about 8 hours
8 hours.
because.
So what you start with the form of the.
And I start.
placemat?
There's a little. Well, what I start with is this little
The
piece
comb?
of felt.
Oh, the felt.
This little piece of felt. And then I start trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I first thought I was only going to use one, but then I had these flowers, and it took me a while to figure out what kind of flower I was
So she's
going
got
to
flowers
use.
all the way through, everyone.
Mhm, because
It's not
you
just
wanna-
that top.
you want to be
the
able
form.
to look good from every direction. So, and what I do is I like to have things really match the shades. So I take things outside
Mhm.
on my back deck, all the things that I might use, the colors, and I see, I want this to blend or be in the same family. Then I take it to the front, and then I take it in the house, and it goes
You gotta
in a
look at all
little
the lights.
stack. because when I work late at night, I don't want to wake up the next morning and have
What was I doing?
navy blue with black or pink with red. I'm just very a perfectionist when it comes to making things that look nice. And then when I put this on someone and I see their face light up, that's what it's all about.
Right?
They
That's
just
the reward.
change right then and there, because I know that they're thinking about getting dressed with the dress that they're going to wear with that, and they just stand taller.
Right.
Everything.
I love it's not necessarily perfectionism, because we talked about that the other day, that whether people think perfectionism is a good thing, a bad thing, does it overly stress us? It's not that, it's just standards, right? It's standards. You're meticulous. Perfectionism is one thing, but I think it's more, I have high standards.
Yes.
You have high standards. You want to make sure that the form of it's right, the coloring of it's right? And then, like you said, the reward of when someone puts it on and just looks at how incredible. I think this one is beautiful. I would love something like that to wear to church. I'm telling you.
Yes, or
tea.
Or
tea.
There are so many groups now that are doing hats for bridal showers, baby showers, tea parties. Just a reason. That looks really great.
I like this little drop.
I like the drape. Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about some events coming up. So you've been talking about Forest Park Forever. When is that, and what is that all about?
It is the 8th of June this year, the first Thursday in June every year. They have it at Forest Park at the pavilion, the 1904 pavilion.
Oh, yes.
They have in the past have had over 1,000 women come to this.
Wow.
And then there's a sit-down lunch. All the money that they make goes for the Forest Park Forever. Now, because of COVID, they've had to make a few changes. They're coming back from all of that. So I think the limit might be 600 this year. I'm not sure, but
tickets still available to your knowledge?
Yes, they are. And so I'm doing a trunk show at the Vault.
Yes,
I
love the ladies
South
at the Vault.
On Saturday from 11 to 4.
This Saturday?
Yes, and 15% of my profits, my sales are going to go to the Forest Park Forever. So
I love that.
And you don't have to buy it just for the Forest Park. You can buy it for the ascot races or a wedding coming up or a tea or a special event, maybe a baptism, whatever.
Absolutely.
Just wear it.
Just wear it, yes. Just incorporate it back in. So the Vault, if you've never been, luxury resale, those women are incredible.
Yes.
Love that store. If you've never been, I want you to put it on your calendar. Maybe you go there this weekend. You go see my friend Dianne. You're going to be there on Saturday. What's the time?
11 to 4.
Okay.
And they have all kinds of name brand things. It's just an amazing store.
And it's grown and grown. I'm so proud of them of how they started and what they've grown to. So 11 to 4 on Saturday, the Vault, which again, Brentwood, Richmond Heights area. Brentwood, okay. And that 15% of the proceeds going to Forest Park Forever. Forest Park Forever will be at the 1904 World's Fair Pavilion.
Yes.
That's on June 8th.
June 8th. And you can go online and get your tickets there.
Okay. Last thing, before we are going to do your daily devotional, we'll get through a couple things and see if there's anybody that has any other comments or questions. George will let us know that. This always reminds me of one of my absolute favorite movies. If you have never seen, hopefully by now you have, but every time Pretty Woman comes on, I love Pretty Woman. I love the one outfit. I love when she goes back in. You work on commission, don't you? Big mistake. Huge. And right, so she's all dressed up when she goes to the polo match. I love that. I actually have a jumpsuit that looks like she has a dress on in that, but it's a jumpsuit that's got like that brown, white polka dot, and then she has these beautiful hats on that she wears as well. Again, completely changes from who she was, the respect for herself, but then she goes to lunch and she's like, I don't know which fork to use. I don't know where do I even begin. And then that little, what is it, oyster or whatever she's a mussel that pops out, and she's like, and then the guy looks and goes, it happened to me too. Like, it's okay, but let's learn about it. Do you teach those aspects as well? As like what forks to use?
The classes that I teach at the universities or corporations sometimes is from the beginning cocktails, what you do with your drink, where you hold your napkin, how you shake hands, to a 5-course dinner. We sit down and I go through everything with them, try to select things that they don't normally eat. We want to have soup so that they learn how to do the soup. But the table is set so that they know exactly what each item is. They can ask a question at any time. Any question is not a dumb question,
right?
But that's how they learn. And that goes back to the the deterioration of our the fact that students don't know which fork to use is because look at all the things that our children are involved in now. There's gymnastics, there's ballet, there's baseball, basketball. And so how many families actually have the opportunity to have a sit down meal? They're always running here and there. And so that's where you learn the things about how to sit properly and which fork to use and how to use it. But I have students all the time who are getting ready to go out for those interviews and they want a crash course on what to do. And I tell them, look, the first thing you need to know is the handshake, number two, and the eye contact. But the other thing is if they invite you out to lunch or breakfast, if you don't have the table manners that can get you through that, the perfunctory next step is perfunctory because you've already been cut.
Been canceled.
Right. You have to be the person who can represent that company in any and every aspect. And so I tell them, practice this at home. My son used to say, Mom, we're just at home. I said,
So that's where you do the learning.
That's right. If you know exactly what fork to use, then you can use your mind to think about exactly how you're going to answer the questions. Or if you're trying to impress a young lady or vice versa,
Right.
you don't have to worry about that kind of thing.
Absolutely. It's respect for oneself. I think it all goes back to that. And that's
Yes.
something that I'm hoping that you're teaching. I'm hoping that you learned a little bit today of what you can do for yourself moving forward. Again, we're not asking you to be elaborate and go out of your comfort zone, but maybe make some steps. Just take that extra little effort. If you're running up to Walgreens to go grab something that you don't look like a slob, I don't understand that. I sometimes look, I used to say, I don't think that person has a best friend because there's no way a best friend will let you walk out of the house looking like
But
that.
that's true. And you talked about airplanes. When you're on the airplane, the chances of you getting moved up to first class is much better if you're dressed appropriately.
It is. There's a lot of things. You could be at a concert and they'll come up to you and go, do you want to move down?
Yes.
Yes. Why? Because of the way I'm dressed? Fantastic. Mom, thanks for teaching me that.
That's right.
Anything else? Well, we're going to give your website again so people
Well, I'm
can find
ready
you.
to talk
Yes.
about this. George Washington, as a matter of fact, is the person who wrote, when he was 14 years old, the Rules of Civility and Decent Behavior. He had 110 rules that still apply today. And this little book is something that you can get anywhere and provide it to your children. Like, for instance, here's 107. If others talk at the table, be attentive, but talk not with meat in your mouth. I mean, how basic is that? But it's still applicable today.
It is.
And those are the kinds of things that if somebody takes you out the first time and you don't know which fork to use, or you're talking with your mouth full and using your fingers, I mean, chances are you're not going to get a second
Dan,
date.
it's not
Vice
even using
versa.
the fingers. It's also, what in the world, why don't people know how to use their fork and knife and actually cut? If I see one more person do this
Oh, yes.
or this and then move the meat,
Yes.
I don't get, that all starts when you're younger. What is it called again?
It's called George Washington's Rules of Civility and Decent Behavior.
Decent behavior,
Mhm.
respect
Yes.
for oneself. So today we told you
Yes.
respect, class, etiquette, being present, respecting yourself first and foremost. And when you do that, I always say that the number one person in the equation of your life is you. Not everybody else, not the people pleaser and everyone. You have to take care of yourself first of all, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, soulfully. Balance your life a little bit better of who you are, and then watch what happens around you. You start to draw more of
That's right.
what you want in life.
And you have
Respect
to-
others.
You have to like yourself. If you don't like yourself, you can't like anybody else
Yep.
or love them. So
Yes.
that's what it's all about.
I love you. You
I
are
love you
such a
too.
dear woman. Okay, so again, this Saturday you can see her at the Vault, 11 to 4 in the Brentwood area. Look it up, the Vault Luxury Resale. Say hi to Diane. Say hi to the ladies there. Again, incredible clothes, a lot of things that they have, their shoes and they've got jewelry, etc. Then on June 8th, the Forest Park Forever event will be at the 1904 World's Fair Pavilion. We love our Forest Park, don't we? We are so
Yes,
blessed. Just the history of Forest Park alone. We're actually going to go there today. I think we're going to the zoo.
Good.
We have a
Well-
foreign exchange student in town.
Oh, do
We're
you?
going to introduce her.
Good.
Yes.
Another event coming up, which is always very, very worthwhile going to, is the Glennon Gallop. And it's a polo match, and all the proceeds there support the Cardinal Glennon
When is that?
Hospital. That is about the third weekend in September.
In September. I've never been to a polo
It's out in
match.
Defiance, Missouri. It's
I
fantastic.
like that.
Yes.
But what, somebody help me remind. I want to go to that. She'll
Yes.
text me. All right.
And they wear hats for that.
Oh,
They
we've got
all,
to get these
the
hats
women
back.
all wear hats, and the gentlemen wear hats too. And they usually wear either all white or all cream color. And you see the men with seersucker suits and white suits, cream color suits. So.
Before I wrap up, we're going to read these devotional. Where
Yes.
they're underneath here. Maybe nope. Oh, here they are.
There.
So before I wrap up, how many hats? Because I know a lot of these are your babies that people buy. How many hats do you have at home?
Oh well.
Have you counted lately?
One for every outfit that I wear, of course, and then I have a vintage collection. I have hundreds of vintage hats, and I do presentations on the history and evolution of hats.
Where do you keep them all?
Well, that's a good question. I have them all over the house. Every room has hats in it.
In hat boxes?
Some in hat boxes, but some are on display.
Okay.
In every room and up the walls and up the stairs. And
Hat boxes, by the way, in itself are beautiful.
yes.
Bringing those back as decorations. I love you, my friend. If you want to give where they can get in touch with you, maybe have a hat made.
Oh, yes. You can call me at any time on my cell, 618-978-2150, or message me off of my website, or just message me from my Facebook page or Instagram.
978-2150, 618 in front of that.
Yes.
See, this is called being present. I don't know her phone number, but I just repeated it. 618-978-2150.
Yes.
What is the website again?
It's Hats by Dianne with 2 N's at gmail.com. Hatsbydianne.com.
Is there a hyphen in there though?
No.
No, that's how we tag you on Facebook.
Yes, that's
Okay.
in
Hats
Instagram.
by Dianne with 2 N's.com. Check it out. Find a unique hat because again, not one is the same. I love you, my friend. Thank you. We're going to do this for you as I always promise. How about we just do one of them? For those of you that are struggling and having an issue with overeating, 100 Days to Freedom, this will almost get us caught up. So let's end the show with you today thinking about this and helping you in your life. If you haven't been present, if you haven't respected yourself, you're not nourishing yourself, maybe this will help. God satisfies. You open your hand and satisfy the desires of every living thing. This is from Psalm 145, verse 16. Have you ever sat down and reflected on what you truly desire? Maybe you should do so today. What makes you feel fulfilled? Rarely do we take the time to quiet ourselves. We're told we try to be more present. Reflect on this question. Not only do we have basic human needs, food, water, safety, but we also crave something deeper to satisfy us. Go deeper. We crave love, a connection, a sense of purpose, a feeling of belonging in this world. You know, when Jesus met the woman at the well, she was living in shame and was hiding. He knew her private life and he desperately wanted her to know his love for her. He said, quote, everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life. By the way, that's from John 4, verse 13 through 14. Like the woman at the well, you, right now that are listening to us, you have a story for being the way that you are. Maybe you run to food to satisfy an unfulfilled need or desire. A lot of people that I life coach, they do it for comfort. They do it to mask the pain. You know, Jesus wants to meet you in the middle of your story and reveal himself as the giver of abundant life. Regardless of where you feel empty, he alone can satisfy. And he promises to do just that and more than that. From Henry Cloud, make friends with your needs and then welcome them into your life. They are a gift from God designed to draw you into relationship with him and with his safe people. Your needs are the cure to the sin of self-sufficiency. From Daniel Amen, practice saying no to the things that are not good for you. No to the things that are not good for you. And guess what? Over time, you will find it easier to do just that. You'll form that good habit. And from Billy Graham, God never takes away something from your life without replacing it with something better. So always know, my friends, that something better is on the horizon. That light is coming for you. For further reflection, you can go to Psalm 103, 1 through 5, Isaiah 58, verse 11, Jeremiah 31, verse 25, and John 7, verses 37 through 38. And I leave you with this, today's prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for your love and your truth that you freely give. Thank you for having compassion on me and for causing me to feel worthy. You are the giver of all true life. Amen. What an incredible show that we've had with you today, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you. By the way, I want to thank again Invita Health and Wellness, our title sponsor, but we have more that are coming on. In fact, I had a very busy day yesterday with several companies that are coming on board with us in June, July, August. Throughout the summer, we're going to be hearing from more and more of our wonderful friends. And why? Because they said, I align with your mission, Monica. I love what you are trying to provide to the world. And that's really it. Can you change the world? I believe you can. And together, I think we'll do just that. Thank you so much, my friends, for tuning in. Don't forget, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m., we come to you live. You can always watch it on replay. And my wonderful team behind the scenes taking a lot of the content off of Facebook, putting it on YouTube. So don't forget to follow my YouTube page at The Real Monica Adams, because I know a lot of people aren't on social media. And that's the reason why we'll put it there for you. As well, the next level that I've been waiting for is to take all the audio and put it on all the podcast platforms. So there's a lot to come besides, of course, the new studio. All of that in your future. God bless you all. Thanks so much for watching.